Bronny James with the 30 ball. How in the world did that happen? I mean, what the narrative has been, all this negativity on Bronny's head. He's not this, he's not that, he's not hungry, he's privileged, he's not talented, he's not good, he's not this, that, and the other. And then he comes out with 30 points last night. I'm not surprised. Actually, I'm not surprised by anything. But what the 30 points shows me is that he has been working on his game, in particularly his handle. When you have somebody like Bronny, who is, don't forget, he is LeBron James, if you think about it. But he's been working on his handle. And when you're an athlete like that, when you develop your handle, it just unlocks so many things, and primarily your confidence. When I watched the highlights, he looked extremely confident. I pay attention to the small things in particular. I look at how he drives left. He has a strong left hand. There's it's interesting. There have been players, that are right-handed players that can drive left. When you're a right-handed player, a lot of times, people, their weak hand is their left hand, and they either have problems with their left hand. He is the opposite. He has a really strong left hand. Kind of reminds me, Derrick Rose was a really strong left-handed driver. Even his teammate at USC, Isaiah Collier, he had, one of the best left hands for a right-hand player that I've ever seen, actually. To me, it looks like, Bronny's really been working on his handle. And when your handle gets strong, your confidence skyrockets. The game opens up to you. You just see so many more things. You don't get self-conscious when, defenses get up on you. And then, once you get confident, you just start looking around, for other things to conquer. With me, I don't get ahead of myself. I'm not, I just want to share my ideas on what Bronny can do as far as the development. First thing, not the first thing, but one thing I observed is when Bronny came into the league, or even in college, or even in high school, you just really don't know what position he plays. He just basically it's like Bronny getting the game, and then he's just in there, and then you just don't really know what the plan is. For me personally, he would come into the games, whether it would be G League or NBA, and it's like or summer league, even preseason. It just looked like the plan was when you get in there, just shoot it every time, and that is essentially going to lead to an epic fail. That's not a good plan for anybody, but for Bronny, it's almost like a recipe for failure, because it's just like he wasn't observing any kind of game plan, nothing. It's just come in there and shoot it when you touch it. For him to be successful, he has to have a plan. And so this is my opinion. This is what I would do if I were responsible for Bronny's path. Is I would have him point guard, and the instructions would be work on your handle always. When you get in the game, make the right play. That's how you get good, and it's not a Bronny James thing at all. As a player, you make the right plays. You don't think about numbers, stats, nothing. How many points you scored, nothing. You just come in there and make the right plays. Asking him to just come in and just shoot every time, it might work if the competition is lower, but when you get up against real goons, it's not going to go well. It's really not. So you have to build your foundation on things that can work, no matter who the competition is. And so with someone like Bronny, you know, you have a couple things working for you. You know, you're smart, intelligent. You're super athletic, and then you add your handle to that. When you're athletic like that, then you can get up on people defensively, and you just add things slowly. It's like you're cooking a great meal. You don't just rush it. You know, you don't just slam everything in the microwave and hit the button. You know, you have to layer things in and do it slowly so everything absorbs. You know, you add one thing and then you test it against different types of competition, different players, and then you add another thing. And so the main thing is you add the handle, and he looks like he's been putting in tremendous work on his handle recently. Just last week, watching his previous G League game, there was some shakiness there on the handle. He wasn't, analyzing the defense. When the defense got up on him, then things got a little shaky. He was, some of the moves he was making, it was like he was doing drills instead of reacting instinctively to what the defense was doing. And of course, this is just watching highlights, and of course, highlights, everything you do is great, depending on if you're the focus of it or not. So congratulations to Bronny. I've heard some of the commentary around Bronny. I was watching Gil's Arena, and I heard, the term privilege come up. I don't want to really comment on what somebody else's opinion is. When you look at how the come up of players and stuff, where you really get some variety and spice to your game is out on the playground. Or, not even necessarily a playground, but you have to get around and play with a different mix of guys. A lot of times, if you just play against players in organized basketball, it's almost like you're sheltered from every type of basketball that's out there. When you get off in the playgrounds, you see so many different styles and types and different forms of aggression. A lot of times NBA players, they think they're the most gangster dudes out there, and it's like, absolutely not. There's real gangsters out there. There's real sharks, wolves, bears, lions, whatever you want to talk about, out there in the streets. If you haven't been in the playgrounds, a lot of times it can show. And of course, the way Bronny came up, it's like, where do you go to play in the playground? That's not what it is. It's not his fault. But for me, I'm not gonna question certain things about him. If you haven't been exposed to certain things, how are you supposed to know anything in life? If you don't know, you don't know. I mean, you can go into McDonald's, and if they don't show you how to work the fry station, if somebody said just go over there and work the fries, you will look like a damn fool. You aren't going to know what to do. So that just goes for anything. So to sit back there and judge Bronny and just say, well, he can't do this and he's not doing this, it's like, it's kind of unfair, So, certain things, it can take a little bit of time, but you can also speed the process. And you can, it's like you look at the situation as, okay, this is what we're working with. What do we do? And so for me, my opinion, professional opinion, I know what to do. You work on that handle, and then you work on your defense and everything else. And it is not every time you touch the ball, shoot it. Because when you do that, you alienate teammates, and that's when the whispers and murmurs start. That's where, privilege, that concept gets into people's minds. If he just comes in and just ignores this, that, and the other, and it just seems like he just, like, why do you get to come in and just shoot every time? It's not, and then the sense of fairness and the equilibrium, everything is thrown off. Especially, when, someone like a Bronny, for his development, you develop him as a point guard. I mean, there's only been, you could probably count on less than two hands the great players that were in the 6', 6'1" range. I mean, I think of, I know I'm going to leave out some, but, like a Dana Barros, Ben Gordon, Dana Barros, Iverson, Eddie House. There's only been a few. And so you don't want to get into, for the best odds of his success, you don't want to get into just saying he's a 6'1" shooting guard. Kind of wrong, kind of arrogant, kind of foolish. You develop him, his point skills first. And then, if you want to, add in some other stuff, if he all of a sudden develops a flame jumper, then you work some other stuff in. But, for his best success, you develop him as a point. You don't want him to be 6'1" and not be able to run the point. That would be unwise, I would say. But congrats to Bronny. Even with that one game, it's just kind of wild because there's not this kind of scrutiny for other players, but just that 130 ball is going to get some people up off of his back. It's going to change some minds, open some other people up, and really, at the end of the day, doesn't matter what other people think. It's about what Bronny's trying to do. And, for me, I talk about Bronny, but that goes for anybody. You're trying to develop your game, handle. Get on that handle, bend those knees on defense, and ball out. I'm out.